Today's lesson at Alder Creek Farm Community Garden is on weeding, and specifically different types of hose. Weeding can be done one weed at a time with your fingers. It's not very cost effective from a time standpoint though. So if you can use tools, you'll probably be able to get things done a little bit faster and maybe a little more efficient. Some weeds have really deep roots and you would need to use like a spading fork or a shovel to get them out. And you'll learn about various weeds just mostly by experience. But I like to use various hoes. So this is a standard garden hoe, long flat edge. This is a sharp edge here. And it is used for cutting. So you would use it and just cut the weed off like that. This weed is grass, it's gone to seed. It does not go in the compost bin. So we're gonna sort our weeds by buckets. This is the one that's got seeds in it, and this can all go in the compost bin. So a weed like this, again, has grass, and it's got grass seeds, so I'd put it in there. Now with blueberries, they have very shallow roots. So anything within the drip line, like right around underneath that, you would want to hand weed or very shallowly cultivate. But as you can see, it takes some time. Ooh, nice worms. Anyway, it takes some time to get one weed out, where with your hoe, you can pretty much go in and just cut them.
Wow.
That can go in the compost.
What is that?
Again, we've got small weeds here. If we did not have this chipped as a chipping, as a area that is all neatly groomed, you can leave the weeds that you've taken out with your hoe. You can leave them in the row. They'll just compost in place. It's not going to hurt anything. It may not look as pretty. There's other hoes that you can use to be a little bit more precise. So this is a pointed hoe, and so you could use this as an example to get up underneath your watering device and gently pull your weeds out like something like that. You can also, if you've got vegetables in a row, you can get real close to them, where with the big flat hoe it's a little bit harder. Another cool tool for that would be this device. Yes, it looks like an implement of torture.
Yeah.
But if you had a row of radishes, as an example, right down here, you could weed on both sides of them and get the weeds out with something like this. This has a third blade, I guess you would call it, that you can also put in here. And you can go through and weed out stuff pretty quick. So I don't know if you can catch it or if you can even see it from where you are, but there's a bunch of weeds right here. And I'm gonna they're outside the drip line, so I'm okay. And I'm just gonna disturb them like that. They're gone. So it's pretty quick doing it that way. Otherwise, I would have had to individually pull. Clearly we've got something that has self-sown here. But see, that'd be pretty time consuming to do it that way. I wonder what that is. It's kind of a cool seed. It almost looks like a, I don't know what that is. Anyway, so yeah, you can just go through, and that's pretty shallow weeding. This one probably has more of a taproot. So again, I would either use a shovel or something that you can get a little deeper, and I'm between the plants, so I'm okay. I'm away from the blueberries. Yep, I'm gonna break that off if I do it. So I would get a fork and lift underneath that and get that whole weed out, because with the taproot it'll just keep coming back. Another tool that's interesting is some people call these stirrup hoes. There's another name. Can't remember it right now. Scuffle hoe. And that, let's see if I can find a good place to use that. So that just goes and cuts the weed right underneath it. So I've just cut the edge of that weed off. In this case, pop weed, take the whole thing out. Don't put it on the compost. That goes in noxious weeds. So these various tools, watch this, this goes really fast. And just cut it off, just like that. So, anyway, use your tools to the best of your advantage. These tools work, but maybe not as fast. But when you're weeding right next to something, you know, if you were, well, most of that's all shielded out, but if you're right next to a plant, then you have to be a little more gentle and use your fingers. So, all right, so that's the lesson for today. Thank you.